Oh, hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Power is a lot like real estate. It's all about location, location, location. The closer you are to the source, the higher your property value. Centuries from now, when people watch this footage, who will they see smiling just at the edge of the frame?
Kevin Spacey is a powerful man, but he can be called out, accused, and convicted, and his accusers won't have to fear for their lives. However, there are people a bit ahead of him. Spacey first met Epstein after Bill Clinton invited him on an 8-day humanitarian trip to Africa in 2002. Epstein's flight logs reveal that Spacey traveled with Clinton in January, February, July, and August of 2002. The plane used in these travels was, of course, Epstein's private jet. Spacey specifically mentioned that there were young girls present on the flight.
Because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights?
There were young girls on those flights, yeah.
These travels and a brief visit to Buckingham Palace, where he met Epstein's longtime partner in crime, Ghislane Maxwell, marked the end of Spacey's connection with Epstein. Kevin Spacey was someone who lived on the sidelines of Epstein's circle, but I'm here to tell you about those whose circles Epstein lived on the sidelines of. Les Wexner, owner of Victoria's Secret, granted Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney in 1991 and made him his top associate. Epstein had been managing Wexner's finances since the late 1980s and continued for over 20 years until 2007. Wexner was warned by other associates that Epstein might be abusing his authority and was acting as a recruiter for Victoria's Secret models. But Wexner still supported Epstein and provided his New York City mansion to him in 1995 to oversee the businesses. In 2019, the FBI raided this mansion and found hundreds, and perhaps thousands, of sexually suggestive photographs of fully or partially nude females. Some of the photos were confirmed as those of underage females. In a locked safe, compact discs were found with handwritten labels. Also found in the safe were $70,000 in cash, 48 diamonds, and a fraudulent Austrian passport, which expired in 1987. That had Epstein's photo, but another name. The passport listed his residence as Saudi Arabia. Just a year before this raid, journalist James B. Stewart interviewed Epstein at this very mansion. On the second floor, he saw a wall covered with framed photographs. Among these was a full-length shot of a man in traditional Arab dress. "That's MBS," Epstein said, referring to Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Epstein mentioned that the Crown Prince had visited him many times, and they often spoke. Epstein's address book also included entries with the names Saud and Prince Salman, widely believed to refer to King Salman bin Abdulaziz, and the Saudi ambassador to the United States, Prince Bandar bin Sultan. The Saudis were neither the only royal family nor the only national leaders connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew of the British royal family had been Epstein's friend since the early 90s and had frequently traveled in his private jet, visiting the New York City mansion as well as an alleged visit to Epstein's Island. Prince Andrew was also accused of being part of Epstein's trafficking ring and many other things. The former Prime Minister of the UK, Tony Blair, was also mentioned in Epstein's contact list. Epstein had been in contact with 3 Israeli prime ministers, Ehud Barak, Ehud Olmert, and Benjamin Netanyahu. Epstein had helped facilitate a meeting between Netanyahu and J.P. Morgan Chase in 2011. At this point, Epstein was already a registered sex offender. Contacts of the previous Israeli Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert and Ehud Barak, are present in the Epstein Files. Ehud Barak specifically visited Epstein more than 30 times at his residences in New York and Florida between 2013 and 2017. Barak was photographed entering Epstein's Manhattan townhouse in 2016, disguised in a scarf and hat. On the same day, several young women were seen entering. Apart from these prime ministers, Epstein had well-known relations with American presidents, including Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, both of whom frequently flew on Epstein's private jet. Donald Trump's former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, who also defended O.J. Simpson and Jeffrey Epstein, was directly accused by one of Epstein's victims, but the case was settled with no admission of guilt. Dershowitz had claimed to have seen the full Epstein list and knows names that are being suppressed to protect individuals.
Every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them.
Alexander Acosta, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida back in 2006, agreed to a plea deal, which Alan Dershowitz helped to negotiate, to grant immunity from all federal criminal charges to Epstein, along with 4 named co-conspirators and any unnamed potential co-conspirators. Acosta later said he offered a lenient plea deal because he was told that Epstein belonged to intelligence, was above his pay grade, and to leave it alone. Former CIA Director and diplomat William J. Burns had met with Epstein thrice in 2014. Former Israeli intelligence officer Ari Ben-Menashe had claimed that Epstein was actively spying for Mossad and gathering compromising material on powerful people to blackmail them. Even if we treat the spy angle as speculation, this is who Epstein truly was. He never earned a college degree, yet managed to become a teacher of physics and mathematics. From there, he transitioned into the world of finance, steadily climbing his way into the orbit of the ultra-wealthy. Much of Epstein's early fortune came from helping rich clients recover money lost in frauds. But whenever the opportunity arose, instead of returning the funds, he simply kept them. The wealthy couldn't exactly go around admitting they'd been conned twice. Epstein was never the power, he was the hustler. The real power belonged to the people he surrounded himself with, and to keep them close, he built the net. Each of Epstein's residences was saturated with surveillance, wired with cameras in every room, including bathrooms and toilets. These cameras were Epstein's net for keeping these powerful people on his side. Epstein had boasted that he had dirt on powerful people, including information about their sexual proclivities and recreational drug use. There is no denying that Epstein himself was a PDF file, but his hunger for power was more than that. His contact list had names of industrialists such as David Koch, Rupert Murdoch, and Michael Bloomberg, celebs like Woody Allen and Naomi Campbell, and world leaders like King Salman of Saudi Arabia, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and the current President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. The fact of the matter is, Epstein bit off more than he could chew. When he was first arrested in 2006, he secured a sweetheart deal, just 13 months in jail, 12 hours of daily work release. But the turning point came in late 2018, when the Miami Herald published a bombshell investigation by Julie K. Brown, exposing both the scope of Epstein's abuse and the leniency of his plea deal. Under mounting public outrage, the Department of Justice launched internal reviews. More victims came forward, and the Southern District of New York took over the case. Epstein was arrested in July 2019 at Teterboro Airport, just as he stepped off his private jet. Simultaneously, his Manhattan mansion was raided by the FBI. It all happened incredibly fast. There wasn't much time to think. So, less than a month from his arrest, Epstein was transferred to a special housing unit where he would have a cellmate and a guard would look into the cell every 30 minutes. Just a day before his death, his cellmate was transferred out and no one took his place. The 2 guards who were assigned to check his jail unit that night fell asleep and did not check on him for about 3 hours. The guards falsified related records. Also, 2 cameras in front of Epstein's cell malfunctioned that night, and in the morning, on the 10th of August 2019, at 6:30 a.m., Epstein was found dead in his cell. Of course, it was declared a self-sabotage.
Amateurs seek the sun.